Mic'd up.
Everybody, welcome to yet another edition of the Highlights from Lowlife show. We are the Lowlifes. I'm Rob Lanterman. With me tonight are Rob Weber, Jeff Jones, and Marty Brown. We, for those of you that aren't aware, we are a bunch of guys that used to play in the same baseball league together. During COVID, we tried to keep our connections and chatted every week in happy hours and different things, and discussed different topics of sports and pop culture and movies and music and what have you. And we ended up doing top 5 rankings each week. People thought that was pretty clever of us. We just thought we were passing time and drinking beer. But anyway, that led to where we are today. We now have this goofy show, so we're proud to be back here tonight. And our topic tonight is an interesting one. It is baseball players' appearances in pop culture. So generally, we're talking about things that baseball players may have done off the field, whether it's movies, music, commercials, books, whatever you can think of, anything off the field. So here we go. We're going to start it off with number 5 tonight. Ooh, that's a good sound. I think I need to make that sound too, while Jonesy is starting off with his number 5 topic. As always, we're here on Mic'd Up. Hit the live button, leave us a comment, leave your top 5s. We could use a little bit of your feedback tonight, so jump in there. Don't be afraid to push that button. And while Jonesy's talking, I'm going to get a beer.
All right. So my number 5 is a show that I watched every day when I came home from school, at least for a little while. It was in repeats and syndication. I was a little too young for its original airing, but this was the first time I saw a baseball player show up on a TV show, and I was like, whoa, they can do that? They're not actors. What are they doing? But this episode had Greg Brady thinking he was an all-star pitcher, and he thought he was going to quit school and he was going to be the greatest pitcher in the world. And his dad, Mike, had a client who wanted to talk to Greg about his future, and that was none other than Don Drysdale. And he wouldn't listen to Don Drysdale, so his next game, he went out and he got shelled.
Oh.
And reality sunk in. So Don Drysdale teaching morals on the Brady Bunch.
Very nice.
My number 5.
Very good. Very good.
How about you, Mr. Weber?
All right. Well, my number 5 is Reggie Jackson. And I know that many of you are thinking of, oh yeah, Reggie Jackson. He was in that Naked Gun movie. Well, that's not what I'm going to talk about here. The 2006 movie, The Benchwarmer. Or The Benchwarmers.
Benchwarmers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like us.
Remember, if you remember the storyline of the film, it's a bunch of kids who aren't very good at playing baseball, and they are helped by Rob Schneider and David Spade and a few others to help them enjoy Little League. John Lovitz plays a character in the film who's got a lot of money, but he's a typical nerd and he can't play sports or anything. So he hires Reggie Jackson to help the kids out and teach them some baseball. And Reggie's very good at teaching the kids how to prank the neighbors, play hot potato, or smash mailboxes with a bat as you're driving by. So the kids did learn a little bit from Reggie Jackson, just nothing about baseball. Very good. Very good. So that's my number 5, The Benchwarmers from 2006.
Nice.
Marty.
I completely forgot he was in that.
Oh, fine film.
Once again, Marty's the old school guy, so I'm going to go back into a little lore with a couple of these picks. First one was the Jackie Robinson story by starring Jackie Robinson. It was it's a black and white film made in back 1950s. Actually, it was 1950. Where Ruby Lee played his wife. He does a great job for a athlete that has no acting experience. And it was the only acting experience he ever had. He never made another movie after that. And it was all filmed in a minor league ballpark in Southern California. The film holds up very, very well. So I want to say, if anybody has, check it out on YouTube, the Jackie Robinson story, starring Jackie Robinson. Okay.
Very nice.
Well
Very
done.
nice.
All right, Rob Lanterman.
Well, we got a comment in already on Jonesy.
Jonesy, your number 5 is awesome. I forgot all about that one. That was a great one. Thanks for picking that one.
Oh wow, I got comments.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Jonesy,
I quit. I quit. See ya.
Yep.
you finally got
It was
validation.
a positive comment. That's what's new.
All right, my number 5, one of my favorite sitcoms of all time. Right after this gentleman was fired from his job, they wrote in an episode of this show to feature him, Sparky Anderson on WKRP in Cincinnati.
You took my sneaky pick. I thought nobody was gonna say that one.
Are you kidding? Sparky coming in, he gets fired, and so Mr. Carlson, the station manager, feels really terrible about Sparky Anderson getting fired by the Reds, so they bring him on as a sports talk show host guy, and the show doesn't go well, and Les Nessman tries to undermine him all along the way. And ultimately, Les Nessman gets him hired by the Detroit Tigers. So he has to leave the station. Sparky's pretty good in that role. And everything that, when you have a name like Sparky, you got to be fun and affable, right? So
That's
he came
right.
across as fun and affable. Sparky Anderson.
Man, I really didn't think anybody else was going to have that on their list.
Oh, come
Good
on.
pick.
I love
Good pick.
that show.
Yeah, so did I. So did I.
All right. Well, we can make the turn right on into number 4 here. Such a good sound. Such a good sound. Hey, Marty, why don't you start us off this time?
Okay. A little backstory. All 4 of us had the time of our lives when we went to Cooperstown. And there was an episode in a TV show about a trip to Cooperstown that didn't go so well for the heroes of the show. It was the episode called Big Shots from Everybody But Everybody Loves Raymond. Raymond was a sports writer. And they were having a big deal up in Cooperstown with the 69 Mets. So on the show was Art Shamsky, Tommy Agee, Bud Harrelson, Cleon Jones, Tug McGraw, Ron Swoboda. And they were because Raymond was a sports writer, he could cut the line and get right in. But that didn't turn out the way it was. And so there's a few funny comments from, especially, who was it? Tug McGraw. And the scene that I kind of take to heart was at the end. They got thrown out, so they're eating in some dive cafe on the way back to New York. And unless you've been to Cooperstown, they're full of little dive cafes, just like on the show. And they're great places to eat. That town was terrific. But that's my number 4 pick. Everybody loves Raymond, Big Shots, Cooperstown, and the New York Mets.
Very nice.
Well done. If you're watching live, you can hit that live button and leave us a comment and talk about Marty undoing that top button, looking all lackadaisical at the end of the day. So whatever you need.
Okay, fine. That's what you want.
We are here for you.
We'll leave it like this. Okay, thanks.
Who should go next? Rob, why don't you go next?
Okay. Another classic film. A bowling film. Kingpin.
Yes.
Nice.
Who's in Kingpin?
Amongst others. If you remember, he tries to hide in an Amish community for a while. And he's got a redneck friend named Randy Quaid. You guys remember Randy Quaid, the strange brother of Dennis Quaid. Randy encounters somebody in a bar. It's a redneck who wants to fight him. Maybe because he's Amish, I don't know. And this this in a stroke of perfect casting, Roger Clemens plays the tries to get in a fight with Randy Quaid, and I'm thinking, wow, geez, I wonder why he would do such a role. And I think it was just doing his life story there. So Roger Clemens in the 1996 film Kingpin. Look for him in the trucker hat.
Very nice.
Well done.
All right, Rob.
Okay, for my number 5,
4.
that's what I said. See, we were before
You said there's no
Count,
math in this.
counting.
before the show. We were talking about metrics, and I was still thinking in terms of metrics. So that's whatever. My number 4,
Nice excuse.
Yeah, thank you. My number 4 is probably the most famous baseball broadcaster of all time, Harry Doyle, as
Nice.
portrayed by Bob Uecker in Major League.
Very
As
nice.
as a guy who likes to think he can talk on a microphone fairly well, Bob Uecker in that role as Harry Doyle is absolutely unbelievable. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jonesy, how many times have I looked at you in the middle of the game and I said, 1 hit? All we got is 1 goddamn hit? And to Jonesy's credit, he looks right back at me and goes, you can't say goddamn. And I always say, nobody's listening anyway. So we relive that scene on a week-by-week basis, play baseball together. So, yeah. Bob
Very
Uecker.
nice.
Yep. All right. Well, and one thing that Bob Uecker, as Harry Doyle, liked to do.
You're just gonna pass me over?
Well, go ahead.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah,
No,
I got one compliment. You just take me off. All right, fine. I don't need to be here. That's all right.
Go ahead.
All right.
Throw me off.
Early 80s television. When you got the star of the show saying he's the biggest fan of a sports team, and they write an episode, and he doesn't even recognize 2 of the players on his favorite sports team in the episode. That's bad writing.
Oh, I know where you're going. I know where you're going with this.
But Tom Selleck as Magnum PI is in a bar, and he starts talking to these 2 guys who are Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker. And he doesn't recognize them. That was the first time I saw like active ball players show up on things. You know, everything I'd seen before was retired guys, the older guys. I had never seen an active ball player go on TV like that, but that was pretty cool. I like that.
It's probably because they didn't have their hats on.
Yeah, because you don't recognize anybody outside of uniform. But that's my number 4, Magnum PI.
All right. Good job. All right. So getting back to where I was going when I was rudely interrupted.
You have one comment.
Wow.
I know.
Wow. It's all right. I feel loved. It's all right. See if you get anything else out of me tonight.
All right. Anything's a plus at this point. So anyway, we come to a time that we like to call What You Drinking? And once again, as always, we are sponsored by our friends at Almanac Brewing in Alameda, California. You guys probably can tell us what we're drinking, but we're still going to go through and list off what we're drinking tonight. And if you have something special you're drinking, hit that live button if you're watching live on Mic'd Up and leave us a comment. Tell us what you're drinking. I am continuing to drink after all these many weeks, the Rocktoberfest, which is Almanac's Lager Series latest release for Oktoberfest season. It's delicious, refreshing, a little bit of malt. Makes you feel like you're partying with a pumpkin.
There goes the rating on this show.
They're a little behind on getting us beer, so they've got to take what they can get at this point. What do you got, Marty?
Marty?
How do you live up to that? I don't know. The last of the bunny hop. A surprisingly good IPA from someone who doesn't care much for IPAs, and that's probably because it's a micro IPA. But it's dry hop. It's excellent, and I think I lost Jeff there, but okay.
Keep going. Cool.
You take it, Jeff.
This is called Off the Rails. I am still sticking with the true Kolsch. It's a very nice light beer, crisp flavor, nice on a nice hot day like today. It's super hot outside and nice little refreshing taste to it. Very nice Kolsch.
Excellent. Well,
and Rob,
the experiment. What do we got?
What's cooking in the lab, Rob?
I am still drinking the Boost Coffee Stout. I can't say that this would be my choice on a hot day, but I do think this would be a great beer to drink during the winter. Smooth taste, not overbearing at all, not too heavy, which is what some people complain about when they're drinking a stout. Not too filling either. But as I said, it's something I would probably gravitate towards during the cooler months of the year. I like it. Good job, Almanac.
Very nice. Thank you, Almanac.
Cheers to Almanac. Cheers to whatever you're drinking at home. And
we do have a drinking comment.
Oh, we do.
I'll play it if you like.
Okay. Yeah, please.
In honor of harvest going on in the Napa Valley, I myself am enjoying a very nice glass of Elise Vineyards Chardonnay. Thank you for asking. Cheers.
Very nice.
Wow.
And she also chimed in with this, which I think is directed to me.
Robbie, you just got red flag.
Oh yeah. So as we continue,
hey, we should explain that to our listeners. The software that we're using actually will flag you if you say something that it deems to be offensive. We might not actually see your comment if you say something that is offensive to the software. We have seen yellow flags before; those get through. That's when the software says, "That's close." But I don't think the hosts get flagged, Rob. So I think you're okay.
That is, I'm going to keep that in my back pocket.
Oh, you're going to get flagged later.
Yeah.
Okay, that's with that terrible transition. Let's move on to number 3. Rob, why don't you start?
All right. Another classic movie. I'm doing all comedies so far. 2001, the movie is Shallow Hal.
Okay.
Starring Jack Black and Gwyneth Paltrow. And Tony Robbins, for that matter. So Tony Robbins is in the film, and Jack Black is asking him for some help. And he wants to have a better attitude on life and see things in a different light. And so Tony Robbins hypnotizes Jack Black into seeing only the best in people. And one of the people that is a good friend of Jack Black, his name is Little Boy. Little Boy is a 400-pound Samoan guy. But after being hypnotized, Jack Black can only see the Samoan guy as Ron Darling.
Wow.
Fine film. So Little Boy, Ron Darling, 2001's Shallow Hal.
Very nice.
Jonesy.
All right. So I initially had Sparky Anderson at my number 3. So I'm going to throw in, and Rob pretty much summed up the episode pretty well. It was a great episode. But I'm going to throw in one of my honorable mentions in here. In the late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in that realm. Oh, no, I think it was late 90s. Pete Rose got pile drived on national TV by the wrestler Kane.
Yeah. WrestleMania 14
Yes.
in Boston.
Yes.
Oh, jeez, you guys need a life.
Okay. But then he later got what was known as the stink face on a later WrestleMania
Hey, Jeff,
by Rikishi.
can you describe the stink face to us?
Imagine a very large Samoan man
400 pounds?
wearing what looks like the garment of a sumo wrestler.
So Ron Darling.
Sitting you in the corner of the ring and then sitting in the corner of the ring.
Oh, man.
Oh.
You know, I remember Pete Rose in that WrestleMania in Boston because he came out marching around talking smack in his tuxedo. He was saying, hi, Boston. My friend Bucky Dent says hello.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
He said, I dropped some tickets for Bill Buckner, but he couldn't pick them up. So
he had some great writers that night.
When he got the pile driver, the place exploded.
Yes. All right, Robbie.
All right, mine's this is probably the one. This one is just weird, and I remembered it in my mind, and I finally, when I was trying to put my list together, I went back to YouTube and looked it up, and I remembered it exactly correct. It's a commercial for Ken Griffey Jr.'s All-Star Baseball on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. At the time, it was supposed to be the most realistic baseball video game available. So Ken Griffey Jr.'s All-Star Baseball is a commercial that features only Cito Gaston, who was the manager of the Blue Jays at the time, not the team that Ken Griffey played for. Nor is Ken Griffey at all in the thing. So somehow Cito Gaston had to be the pitch man for Ken Griffey Jr.'s All-Star Baseball.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, he does a great job. He does a great pitch, but it had to be completely awkward. Like, why the hell am I doing Ken Griffey Jr. baseball here? I don't get it, but I'll take the check.
Very nice.
Yep. Well, then there was one. At number 3.
Oh, I guess that must be. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Anybody got the Simpson episode? Homer at the bat is coming up with Homer at the bat.
Of course I do.
All right, so
of course I do.
There's 2 parts to it. I'm going to do part 1.
Oh, I was
that guy that I liked. And it was having to do with and the name of the character.
Mr. Burns' original idea for his team.
Right. Mr.
Yes,
Burns wants it for his team. He goes over and picks his team, and who does he want? But I had the notes here. Where'd it go?
I got him if you want him.
Okay, Honus Wagner. Cap Anderson and Three Finger Brown. Now, I know that Three Finger Brown was not due to alcohol, but for this Brown, it's because of alcohol. So thank you very much. Now, but I will. So he, of course, he gets told that those players are not around, which is very unfortunate because they're all in the Hall of Fame. And a couple of them still grace the walls of my house with some great pictures that I have. But I'll let Jeff finish the story. But just one thing when you finish, can I have 1 second to add one more comment? But
yes.
Okay.
When I get to the Simpsons episode, I will give you time.
Thank you very much. So that's my number 3. Homer at the bat.
Marty just wants to talk when you finish.
Marty always talks to me.
Yeah, thank you. Red flag that.
Weber, get me out of this. Come on, help. Well, get me out of here.
Yeah, I guess that puts us right on track for number 2. So he called you out, Rob. You got to go.
All right. I don't remember this episode, but somebody reminded me of it the other day. So we're back to 1971, an episode of Mission Impossible.
Whoa.
And Johnny Bench is playing the captain of the guards. He's in full uniform.
Interesting.
Wow.
And he plays, it's a military character. I believe he's in a foreign country. He doesn't have much of a speaking role, but people recognize him right away. And the funny part about it is the cast of Mission Impossible on Johnny Bench's first day on set. So this would be 71. They decorated the entire set with Baltimore Orioles pennants.
Oops.
So yeah, Johnny was less than pleased with Peter Graves and Greg Morris. But you'll have to look for it. It's a 1971 episode. I'm not sure which one, but he plays the captain of the guards.
Yeah, that's Johnny Bench's jersey.
There you go. That's it.
I think this is a prop from the show.
All right, Marty.
Something happened to my notes. Hold on 1 second here.
All right. While we're waiting for Marty, we can say that we have a website now, highlightsfromlowlifes.com. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We'll be coming soon to Twitter. We have a YouTube channel. So there are plenty of places where you can ignore us.
All right. Number 2, right?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Herman the Rookie.
Yes.
Fine episode.
Yes.
A classic of cinema.
Wait, you had to find your notes just to say Herman the Rookie?
Yeah, well, I had notes on it. Now I couldn't find it.
You stopped like Herman the Rookie. That's all I had to say.
Herman Munster on the episode of the Munsters.
Yes, very nice.
He takes his son out to the park to teach him some baseball, and he crushes the baseball 6 blocks and hits Leo DeRocher on the head. So Leo of the Lip wants him to try out for the Dodgers. So sure enough, here comes Herman, and he hits the ball out of the park. They want him to hit a grounder, so he hits the grounder. The ball sticks in the ground, so they can't get it. He hits a line drive past the third baseman. The third baseman holds up his glove. There's a big hole in it, right? Okay, he's running. He gets a base hit, and he's chugging around first base. Comes around first baseman, knocks the first baseman out of completely out of the infield. How could you not sign a guy like that?
I don't know. I think they had trouble finding a uniform for him.
They determined he was too much of a safety hazard to his own team. But there he was, Leo the Lip in Herman the Rookie, Herman Munster. So
very nice.
There we go. All right, Jeff.
All right. So what do baseball players do when they're on strike and can't work? They go act on a show about playing baseball during a strike. So Al Bundy is not happy that baseball's on strike, so he creates his own team and his own league.
Oh, that's right.
On Married with Children. All the teams are sponsored by strip clubs, and he gets rid of all the rules he doesn't like, and it becomes super popular. So the news has to cover it, and the news shows up at his house, And I believe, and I may get some of these wrong, it's been a while since I've seen it, but like Dave Winfield is the cameraman, Joe Morgan's doing the interview, Frank Thomas is operating the boom mic. Tartable showed up somewhere in there. Piazza showed up somewhere in there. Piazza's hitting all over his daughter Kelly. I think Saberhagen showed up in there somewhere too.
I did not see that episode. I'm going to have to look for that one.
No, I remember.
Yes,
that.
It is very very fun episode.
Very fun. A lot of tongue in cheek. It was really great.
Yes.
Nice.
All right, Robbie, number 2.
All right, my number 2. I'm sort of surprised it hasn't come up. I may be taking somebody's number 1, but Bill Buckner on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Very nice.
I can see by Rob's face, no. Do you remember Bill Buckner on Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yes.
Larry makes an error in a softball game, and he spends the whole time wondering how people go through, like what Buckner went through, and then he makes an error in the softball game. Buckner has to talk him down, and then later in the show, they go by a burning building, and a fireman's ready to toss a baby out the window, and they've got the net there to catch the baby, and they throw the baby out, and it hits the net, perfect, but then bounces up.
Bouncing.
And Bill Buckner comes running from out of nowhere and dives and makes the save.
Nice.
So Curb Your Enthusiasm gave Bill Buckner the redemption he needed.
I think, Robbie, somebody just commented that same show.
Oh, are you serious?
Hi, guys. I'm sure somebody will mention it, but I can't think of 5. One of my favorite incidents was the Bill Buckner appearance on the Larry David show, where a woman is trying to save her baby from a fire in an apartment building, and she tosses the baby to the fireman out the window, and everybody in the crowd recognizes that Bill Buckner in the crowd is circling, hoping to catch the baby.
Yep.
Very nice.
Thank you, Bay Meadows Bill, for validating me on that one.
Yes. And that showed up just as you started talking about it.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. Speaking of Bay Meadows Bill, when you're putting your comments in, if you're afraid that we're going to say your real name, make up your own. I mean, be creative. We've got some really good ones and some really bad ones on here. So,
and Bay Meadows, who came in first on the third race? Nothing. No.
Nothing.
No, a horse racing joke, and nobody got it. Wow.
Well, I mean, I hate to break it to you, old man, but Bay Meadows is a mall now. All right. Well, I think that stops us dead in our tracks, which is probably good for all of us. So while we're taking the break, once again, hit that live button, make up your own handle. We don't care what it says. I won't red flag you personally, so don't blame me. But leave us a comment, add your top 5, crack a joke, do something for us. We'd love to play it on the air here. In the meantime, before we get to our round of 1, Marty's going to snap his fingers and say something.
Beetle bomb.
What?
Beetle bomb.
There, he won the race. That's the one who won the race. Beetle bomb. Look it up.
Oh, anyway, we are happy to be here on the Mic'd Up platform. Beetle Bum will be Marty's new nickname. So one of the great things on Mic'd Up is the other shows that are here, and to talk about that for a brief moment here, Mr. Rob Weber.
All right. I'll try to keep this brief.
Like your underwear.
That's right. Okay. So other shows on the platform. Earlier today, our good friend Jim Darby had a show. Jim is a former executive at Easton. He's written a book called Bears in the Bigs, so Cal Bears that have played Major League Baseball. Usually his show will go 30 to 45 minutes, and he'll tell you a little bit about some of the personalities in the book. but he always throws in a good long story about some of his experiences or a good rant about some of current day sports and what Jim likes or doesn't like about it. Great to listen to. Suggest you look for him. Right now, it looks like he's on a regular schedule of Wednesdays at around 4 o'clock Pacific. Rick Barry. Rick and his co-host Cyrus have done shows on a fairly regular basis. They aren't on a strict schedule, but they talk Warriors big time, have a good following. You'll see these shows archived out on the internet in other places. But the live shows are good because, of course, you can interact with Rick and send in a question right there for him to answer. And he's very frank with you. So if you don't want honesty, you probably don't want to call into Rick's show. Bip Roberts, former Major League Baseball player, Leon Bip Roberts has a show on the platform. He's got over 50 shows in the archive. Bip's schedule has been sketchy as late. He's been traveling with either the Giants or the A's to do broadcasts for Comcast. But his shows are excellent. They are all about what's going on in baseball right now, what people think about the players during Bip's time, or how they would compare to the players of today's game. Really interesting listen. So look for Bip's upcoming shows within the app. If you open up the app, you'll see two columns. One is upcoming shows and the other is the archive. And the last show I wanted to tell you about was by John Rieger. John is a PGA teaching professional, but that's not what the show is about. The show is about John's affiliation with the Florida Sports Hall of Fame. So he brings in guests who have played either professionally or collegiately in Florida and interviews them about what they're doing today and what it was like playing in Florida during their careers. Good show to watch. One other thing, I met with Matt Steinmetz today. Matt is a personality that you've probably listened to regarding the Warriors, great writer. We're going to get Matt back up on the platform again, and he'll have a half-hour show discussing what's going on in basketball, whether that be collegiate or pro. It's a great guy to listen to, and he plans on having a lot of top-notch guests. So
Great.
look for those.
Very nice.
Fantastic. Thanks.
I look forward to talking to Steinmetz about the Flint Tropics.
The Flint Tropics, an excellent thing.
All right. Well, that brings us around to our number one choices. Gentlemen, who feels like starting this thing off? Go ahead, Rob.
Well, these guys already know what my number one sports person or baseball personalities in pop culture show is. I talk about it all the time to the point where they don't want to hear me talk about it anymore. But I have I saw the video again today, and I can't stop laughing. The 1963 episode of Mr. Ed.
No, Mr. Ed?
Featuring the Dodgers, Andy Koufax, Johnny Roseborough, Willie Davis, Bill Muscowren, and Leo DeRocher, along with a short appearance by Vin Scully. Wilbur brings Ed out to the Dodger Stadium one day, and they figure out that, maybe Ed has some baseball skills. He's able to pick up a bat with his mouth, and he steps into the box with an oversized hat on his head. And Sandy throws in a batting practice pitch, and Ed crushes a drive off the wall in left field and begins to trot around the bases. I mean, trot is a decent speed for a horse. He has to slow down a bit as he's coming around those bases. He can't maybe go as wide as a human being can, but I don't know how long it took them to film this, but Ed was able to round the bases, and he hits third, and he's coming home. And Roseborough's covering home plate, and he sees Ed coming in. Wilbur's yelling, "Slide, Ed, slide!" And I don't know how they did this, but they show a horse laying on its side, kind of rolling across home plate. As Roseboro climbs up the inside of the batting cage so he doesn't get hit by Ed coming in. So he was safe. One of the best scenes of all time. Some of the worst acting, though, you can see there's the points where Davis and Skowron and Roseboro and Koufax have their cues about what they're supposed to do, and they're doing nothing until they're cued, and then suddenly they're acting. I highly recommend it. Go on the internet, look up YouTube, and just say Mr. Ed Slide episode, and it's a minute and 30 seconds of hilarity. So that's number one. Yeah.
Oh, Marty already brought it up, so here's the time. The Simpsons episode, Homer at the Bat. Homer is on the company softball team, and they're winning all the games, and they get ready for the big championship game. And Mr. Burns decides he wants to bring in ringers. So he gets a whole bunch of major leaguers to come in and be the ringers. As Marty referenced before, he's, Mr. Burns. So he's stuck in 1990 somewhere, or 1900 somewhere. So he's going to say, give me all these players, these Hall of Famers. Well, they're all dead, and they've all been dead. So Marty mentioned a couple, but I'll go through the list. Nap Lajoie, Pie Traynor, Jim Cretin, Shoeless Joe Jackson, Cap Anson, Harry Hooper, Gabby Street, Honus Wagner, and Three Finger Brown. Well, he can't get those, so he gets the best thing. He gets today's guys. Steve Sachs, Wade Boggs, Darryl Strawberry, Jose Canseco, Don Mattingly, Ken Griffey Jr., Mike Scioscia, Ozzie Smith, and Roger Clemens. Not a bad team to play rec league softball. But of course, Homer's disappointed that he doesn't get to play, even though he's on the team. And each one of the guys, the pros, run into weird circumstances that keep them from playing in the big game. Scioscia decides he's a workaholic and wants to work at the plant and ends up getting nuclear poisoning. Steve Sachs gets pulled over for being from New York and gets arrested. Wade Boggs has a fight with Barney in the bar in Moe's about who the best Prime Minister of England was. Ken Griffey Jr. drinks some liquid, some juice that's supposed to be that Mr. Burns suggests that's supposed to give him these great healing powers, and it ends up giving him gigantism of the head. Don Mattingly won't cut his sideburns, so Mr. Burns kicks him off the team. Even after he shaved him all the way up, halfway up his head. Canseco gets caught in a fire, saving a woman and her pets and all of her appliances out of her burning house. Ozzie Smith goes to some weird museum that has like oddities, and he ends up in a black hole of some kind of really odd. I'm not sure what that was about. And Roger Clemens is hypnotized to be a chicken. So with writing like that, how can you go wrong?
Yeah,
that was very detailed.
Yeah.
So Marty, you had one point you wanted to make.
I was looking at an episode, and they had some trivia notes on it on a website, and they said the writers who wrote this, and I mean, look at all the scenarios they came up with for the ball players. The ball players actually showed up and spent 5 minutes doing the recordings, and then spent an hour signing baseballs and autograph for all the writers and everybody who was there. So that was my comment. That's my comment.
That's
nice. Good ad.
So
All right.
I have a question. How many times have you seen that episode?
1, 2, 300, 400. I don't know, something like that.
Do you have a jersey?
I do not.
Ooh.
I do not. I tried to get a Springfield Isotopes hat, and the only place I could get it was on Amazon through a seller from China, and it came and it was about 8 sizes too small.
Oh,
So you should have ordered in metrics.
It was a one size fits all.
Well, in China. Oh, man.
All right, Marty, you're up.
okay.
Notes?
John!
Got your notes?
Just a bit outside. Ball 4. Ball 8. Low. He walks the bases loaded on 12 pitches. How can they lay off these things? Haywood's up. Haywood leads the league in most offensive categories, including nose hair. When the guy sneezes, it's like a party favor. The guy even threw it his own son in a father-son game. Need I say more? He was tremendous, and it was the only decent part of the movie in the sequel. Everything else stunk.
Yes.
Except for Bob Uecker. So there it is.
Bob Uecker.
Number 1.
Very nice.
There he is. Bob
Nice.
Uecker.
Man, the guy who took that picture must have been great, huh?
Yeah, yeah. He couldn't quite get to the top step, though. He ran out of gas.
What else is there? What else is there? Good. Robbie?
All right. I have an obscure one. I believe it's 1971. It does star future Oscar winner Martin Landau and NFL Hall of Fame running back Jim Brown.
Ooh.
It is a blaxploitation action film. And it features Vita Blue.
Oh, jeez.
You're kidding.
It is called Black Gun. So,
wow.
The Black Action Group, or BAG, if you will, knocks over an illegal casino owned by Martin Landau's mafia family. And, of course, the guys get away with it. A couple guys get shot. You know how that goes. They hide out at Jim Brown's place to try to avoid the mafia tracking them down. Vita Blue gets the living stuff beaten out of him.
It wasn't Vita, was he a pimp?
Yes. Vita's a pimp. He knows where they are, doesn't give up the information, gets the living hell beat out of him. It's a horribly awesome movie. Much of the same vein
awesome.
As horribly awesome. Like Surf Nazis Must Die. Also a great film. But it stars not only Vita, Jim Brown, as I mentioned, Chuck Daniel, who played for the Tigers, Rick Farrell, who's a Hall of Fame catcher that played for the Browns, Gene Washington of the 49ers.
Wow.
And another guy, Timothy Brown, not the Tim Brown that we know from the Raiders, but Timothy Brown, who was a running back in the 60s, and then Deacon Jones.
Oh, jeez.
All of these guys are in this movie, and it is, again, horribly awesome. I highly recommend it with like a 12-pack. All right, that leaves you to bring us home, Mr. Weber.
Oh, I've already done. Mr.
No, we're done. That's it.
Done. Oh, I brought us home.
You brought us home.
All right, Vita's happy with that. Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't we get to some comments then? It looks like we got a few here.
Good deal.
This is from Hammy.
Number 5, Lou Gehrig in Rawhide, 1938. Number 4, Reggie Jackson plays the assassin in Naked Gun. Number 3, Bob Uecker and Pete Vukovich. Of course, Vukovich played Clu Haywood, and he led the league in most offensive categories, including nose hair. Number 2, Babe Ruth in The Pride of the Yankees, 1942 with Gary Cooper. And my number 1, when Derek Jeter gets shot in the alleyway by Mark Wahlberg and the other guys, and the cop says, you should have shot A-Rod. That was my favorite.
I forgot about that.
Will Ferrell shoots Derek Jeter, and then they call Will Ferrell the Yankee Clipper. It's brilliant. I forgot about that one. Damn it.
Yeah, and funny, he mentioned Babe Ruth and Pride of the Yankees. That was in my honorable mention.
Oh, yeah.
Babe Ruth made 10 movies. One was called Home Run in the Keys, where he actually sang and played the piano.
Oof.
1938. Wow.
Multi-talented.
Well, he really was. Babe Ruth.
Very nice.
Thank you, caller. Appreciate that.
That Naked Gun, that is a classic scene.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
And there are lots of former Major League Baseball players in there, but I'm still telling you that the Reggie Jackson in Benchwarmers is better than the one in Naked Gun.
How about Reggie Jackson in basketball?
Oh yeah. Okay. I've thought of that. Yeah.
How about Reggie Jackson on a candy bar?
Nice.
All right, Big Juicy's checking in.
Number
James.
5, Bill Mazeroski in The Odd Couple. First choice for that role, Roberto Clemente. Number 4, Reggie Jackson in one of my favorite movies, Basketball. Number 3, Cesar Cedeno and about half of the other Astros in Bad News Bears. Number 2, Roger Clemens in, ironically, the movie Anger Management. And number 1, not a player, but my number 1 nonetheless, Vin Scully for the love of the game, calling Chappell's perfect game.
Very nice. Very nice.
Well done. Well done.
Good picks, Juicy.
I am astonished with the very limited amount of crossover we've had tonight so far.
Yeah. Same.
So yes, Anger Management was good. That was the Adam Sandler film.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's another good fit for Roger Clemens
With Jack Nicholson.
That was a good pull with Mazeroski in The Odd Couple. Wow.
Yeah.
So in the movie or in the show? I think Mazeroski hits into a triple play.
That's right. Yes, he does. Yeah, and Parkman is trying to be the sports writer. Right.
Oh.
Okay, we have Teddy Bear.
Teddy Bear here. My 5 top picks are number 5, Ken Griffey Jr. in Little Big League, Reggie Jackson in either Basketball or Naked Gun. Number 3 is a tie between Derek Jeter and other guys, and Keith Hernandez in Seinfeld. Number 2 is a Simpsons episode that had 8 or 9 of them in there. Roger Clemens, Two-Tip Don Merrily, Sosha, Strawberry, and my number 1 is Pete Vukovich in Major League. He leads the league in the most offensive categories, including nose hairs. Have a good one, guys.
That's clearly our winner.
Yeah. No, not Pete Vukovich, his nose hair.
Yes.
That's the winner.
Kind of tells you something about us, doesn't it?
I'm surprised we got this far without a Seinfeld. That's pretty crazy because that's such a classic episode. I'm Keith Hernandez.
I thought it would be so popular that everybody else would say it, so I kind of left it alone.
It seemed kind of obvious for sure.
Everybody wants to talk about the second spitter, Roger.
Yeah.
Dow.
Yeah.
Big Juicy's got a comment for our comment.
Yes, he did. He hit into a triple play, and there was comments that Roberto Clemente would have taken only 2 tries to do that. Mazeroski took 3 tries to do it.
The knowledge on Juicy.
The knowledge of our fan base is incredible. All right, we got another one from Vonnie.
My top 5 for tonight are number 5, Ryan Howard and Chase Utley in It's Always Sunny. Number 4, Reggie Jackson in The Naked Gun. Number 3, Tim Lincecum in a Giants commercial, which was a mob theme. Number 2, Keith Hernandez in various Seinfeld episodes. And number 1, Vida Blue. Not only in the 70s was he on Laugh-In, but also The Dating Game. Love it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Very nice. Very nice.
Deep knowledge.
So I saw somebody today showed me that Vida was also on the Dick Cavett show.
Yes,
right?
indeed. Yep.
Wow.
So he was quite popular during that during the early 70s.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about talk shows, Bob Uecker on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. If you get a chance, pull up YouTube, any clip, any appearance that he has Johnny rolling on the floor every single time.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
If you came on the Carson show back in the day, you'd go out and do your set if you were a comedian. And you knew you made it if Johnny invited you to come over and sit next to him.
Right.
Yep.
On the dais there.
Yes.
If they just thanked you, you were done. You may get another gig later on, but if he liked you, he brought you over.
Yeah.
That's sort of how Euchre's comedy career got started. He just was listening to this guy talk about baseball, and he was so self-deprecating.
Yeah.
So the original story that Euchre told that had Carson laughing so much was the time, and this is a true story, during the World Series, Cardinals and Yankees back in the mid 60s, Euchre grabbed the tuba player. He grabbed the tuba from a tuba player that was in a marching band that was entertaining, and he was catching fungo flies with the tuba in the he was being egged on by the other players, including Roger Craig, the old Giants manager. He caught several and returned the tuba to the tuba player. Of course, it had a whole bunch of dents in it and pull a baseball out of it, but and he got fined afterwards. But
yes,
everybody said it was worth it. They helped him pay his fine. Carson, that's why I got all those guest spots.
Yes.
There's a legend about Bob Gibson getting Bob Euchre a jersey that said "to be named later."
Nice.
There is another Bob Gibson story with Euchre that I love. If you can find this on the internet. There's a team photo one year.
Oh yeah,
that's right. Yes,
of Euchre and Gibson and the rest of the Cardinals, and Euchre and Gibson are in the front row. Gibson was famously stoic during all these occasions, and just as the picture was taken, Euchre grabbed his hand, so they're holding hands in the team photo. And Gibson's got this sheepish look on his face. They didn't catch it, and it went out for publication.
Oh God, that's great. We got any honorable mentions? Others? No other comments at the moment. There's still time. We got honorable mentions though.
Yeah, let's hear from him.
All right.
Go ahead.
I got Wade Boggs showing up in Cheers, and all I didn't list any of them in particular, but all the old beer commercials, including Euchre in the front row and Billy Martin and all those old beer commercials.
Boog Powell.
Boog Powell, yes.
Yeah. Light beer from Miller.
Yep.
Okay. Robbie and I have a text string that we were on today, and these are all the people that are afraid of posting a comment in this app. I promise you there will not be an electric shock if you do so. But these are the ones that they came up with. Wes Parker on the Brady Bunch and in the movie Scarface. I don't remember that.
I don't remember either one of those.
Yep. Wes Parker's an FBI agent in Scarface or whatever, DEA, whatever it was.
Don Drysdale on Leave It to Beaver. Steve Garvey appearing in Family Court.
How many times?
Yeah. Roger McDowell, of course, as the second spitter on Seinfeld. Let's see. We've got everything that Chuck Connors did, because, of course, Chuck Connors is
he played baseball.
The Rifleman.
Yeah.
The Rifleman.
Brandon was another one.
Brandon, yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah.
Johnny Damon appeared on one of the initial seasons of Dancing with the Stars and did the foxtrot to center field and was immediately eliminated. And then, of course, our good friend, former Giants coach Tim Flannery, with his band, the Lunatic Fringe.
Yes.
They play locally, and good stuff.
Yes.
Those are the ones that got sent in to me.
I had it was depending on the week. It was weird. It was either before or after This Week in Baseball. Johnny Bench on the Baseball Bunch.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Good show.
I actually learned a lot from that show. Ken
Yeah.
Singleton and all these other guys were on there. It was great.
Yeah.
And then Jim Bouton in the I don't know how you would describe it, ahead of its time sitcom of Ball 4.
Yeah.
I didn't know they made that a sitcom.
Yep, they made it, and so all the guys like Jim Bouton played Jim Barton.
Nah.
There was Dan Pincher. Everybody was like all the guys in the book, but they were renamed just slightly different, and it was basically some of the funny scenes from the book were acted out on the show. So, it was too advanced for those people at the time. Those were my two.
Nice. Cool.
All right. Got anything else, guys?
Just remember to tune in next week here on Mic'd Up. Follow us online at www.highlightsfromlowlifes.com. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Twitter should be up and running in the next few days. You can find us on our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, do all that other stuff, because nothing makes you feel better about your life than watching the chaos that is ours.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks,
All right.
Almanac Brewing.
Thank you, Almanac.
Mic'd Up.
Thank you, Mic'd Up.
Always. Yep.
We'll see
Good
you
night,
next
everyone.
week.
Take care.
Cheers.